chief deputy position is the second most important position at the sheriff's office. And I'm not too proud to say that I wouldn't go out and try to find someone that had more years and more qualification and maybe even a little smarter than I am to have underneath me, because that's the person that's going to be following through with your directives, making sure that everything is running correctly when you're not there. And you want someone who's going to enforce the rules, follow the policies, and that's very well educated in law enforcement, the jail. And if you have to go outside to Saline County to find that person, then that's what I'll do. Thank you.
Chief deputy is a very important position. Even more important is the sheriff, and ensuring that the sheriff chooses the correct person for that position. You've got to have somebody who can work with the sheriff. You've got to have, I agree, in a yin and yang system. If you're strong in one suit, you need to find someone who's stronger in suits where you're weaker. Somebody who can help complement your style of leadership. The chief deputy will have to take care of implementing your plans, your policies, and your procedures. You're going to have to work on the budget. You will have to get somebody that you trust, that is qualified, and I agree, if you have to go out of Saline County to find your chief deputy, then so be it. You also need the same thing in the jail. Not just the chief deputy is the important position, but the chief deputy over the detention facility. You have to hold that same standard. I agree. I do.
Chief deputy is a very important position. I've had the privilege of working under several. They've all had good knowledge. I plan on putting somebody in there with good experience, good knowledge, somebody that can stand behind me, that's going to have my back, take care of the situations as a department that needs taken care of. Strong leadership, strong background, great family values. It takes all that to run a sheriff's department. I need someone who's going to work hard and effectively, just as I am. And I feel certain that I can find that individual to come in and take that place. Thank you.
The chief deputy is very important. Like Mr. Dodson said, family values is a huge factor in picking a chief deputy. Also, I want one that's got the same fight and drive that I do and I've had my 14 years of law enforcement. I don't need a desk jockey. He'll be out there in the streets along with me. So I look to get an active chief deputy, and we'll go from there and implement several things within the department and for the people to follow us. Thank you.
I believe your chief deputy needs to be as loyal to the county as the sheriff. I've had three choices. I've looked at three different people to be my chief deputy, and the one I need is one that will be out on the streets with me, one that will be sitting as a partner, so to speak, on my decisions. Some people, the chief deputy really needs to be able to, like you said, like they said, to be able to form a budget, operate a budget, be able to look for grants to help the sheriff's office go on and further be a better sheriff's office. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. Our last question of this segment, and this will begin with EJ. How do you feel the legalization of marijuana and alcohol sales will affect crime and safety in Saline County?
First off, Saline County has always been dry. I believe it will stay dry. if you have marijuana or anything that crosses into the county, it'll be the job of the sheriff to enforce that law, that you arrest those individuals and you place them in jail. Any legalization we have to follow. If the courts and the legislators say this is what will be done, then the sheriff's department, I myself will follow that rule. I have no option but to do that. I will do it 24/7, 7 days a week. If you put me in there, I will follow the law, I will follow the rules, I will follow the regulations that's brought down upon the sheriff's department. The sheriff is the highest position in the county, and you can legalize and do things that certain people cannot do. But if law and legislative says that's what you will do, I will follow. Thank you.
Pete, the question, how do you feel the legalization of marijuana and alcohol sales will affect crime and safety in Saline County?
We have many establishments that already sell alcohol in Saline County. And I believe our law enforcement has done an excellent job in battling what problems do arise from them. We have our city, along with Bryan, I believe the county also, we have a task force that work to battle against DWIs and problems such as, relation to alcohol. As far as the marijuana, I don't believe it needs to be legalized. If it does, again, we will be mandated by law to enforce whatever laws that are passed down to us. But my personal feelings, it's just a precursor to the next illicit drug. I do not believe that it should be legal. Thank you.
I agree exactly what Rodney says. Alcohol is already for sale in this county in various places. I think that there are steps that you take. You see they've got an active DWI unit here in Benton. I think the sheriff's office needs to do the same thing. We need to have some saturations, need to have some checkpoints, and I think that's what keeps people from breaking the law as far as alcohol is concerned. Marijuana is a whole different issue. I believe that marijuana is a gateway drug. A lot of people think it's a harmless drug. I watched my dad die of cancer. My dad took synthetic pill form THC. I do not believe that you have to smoke marijuana. I would be on the forefront of opposing a law that legalized marijuana. I have seen a lot of people hurt. I have seen a lot of families broken up from these gateway drugs. I've seen more money and more death involved in marijuana than some of the other illicit drugs. It's not the top, but it's pretty close. So I would definitely not be for marijuana.
Saline County is about as wet as you can get for not to be a wet county. I too will enforce all the laws that are placed before us, whatever the citizens of Saline County decides to do. I am totally against the legalization of marijuana. Marijuana is just another gateway to other drugs. We see this on a daily basis. That is something we do not need to implement in this county or this state of Arkansas. I will fight hard to fight against marijuana legalization. But on the other hand, like everybody else says, I've been put here to work and to serve this great state and this great state of Saline County. Whatever happens, we will get the job done, period. Thank you.
I do believe the crime rate will go up a little bit. If you go look in Pulaski County and the other Wayne counties, you see crime all over the streets, street corners, hanging out the store waiting to get the next free $2 so they can go buy 40. I don't see that that's being handled in Pulaski County, so it would definitely be something that we'd have to get a hold of here. As far as the marijuana goes, we're going to have to go with what the law says and let the public know that you can still get DWI drugs being under the influence of marijuana. So it'll definitely have to be written well and regulated well. Thank you.
Well, first of all, I neither drink nor smoke marijuana, that is. have seen actually a decrease, I think, in the DWIs since alcohol has been legal, so to speak, in Saline County. We don't have them going to county line from county line, picking up a 40 and driving back to their house, popping the top on the way there. Marijuana, the law is the law. It'll be enforced. I don't feel that arresting somebody for the use of marijuana, I'm not real sure that they need to be in prison for it. Maybe work it off, maybe still fine. The dealers, on the other hand,
I too am like the other gentleman behind me. Number one, I don't believe we should ever legalize marijuana. I believe that, it's just a stepping stone to another drug. I know in my 40 years of law enforcement, especially back years ago when marijuana was the big thing, I have seen a lot of people injured from the use of it, car accidents, to just putting themselves in harm's way. As far as alcohol, and I agree with them, Saline County is not the wettest dry county. But I will agree too also the fact that, like Mr. Dutterer said, people who have to drive to the county line open one up to drive back, and that's not safe. But DWI arrests have gone down in the county. Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen. That concludes our first half of the debate. We're going to take a short recess. We encourage you to go visit the concession stands and be listening for my voice. We'll reassemble you in about 10 or 15 minutes. So you are temporarily dismissed.
They're trying to get by something.
Which will begin with Rodney. Do you believe the current number of deputies on patrol at a given time is enough? Why or why not? And again, you have 1 minute.
No, the current amount of deputies on patrol is not enough. Right now, I think there's 4 deputies and a sergeant. These guys can help me out with that. But Saline County is huge. It takes a long time to go from one end to the other. We've got a lot of people that aren't protected. But one of the main things is the Benton Police Department covers the city of Benton. Bryant covers the city of Bryant. Saline County deputies need to be out in the county covering what's not being already taken care of. We need to make sure that we use our resources in an efficient way. The county doesn't have a whole lot of money. We need to do the best we can with what we have. Get hall workers out of the office. Get them out on patrol if we need be. That's the only way that we're going to be able to efficiently patrol this big county. Thank you.
I'm going to talk really fast because I got a lot to say on this subject. Absolutely not. We do not have enough deputies on the street. Currently, there's 5 deputies on the street at a time, and actually 2 of them are supervisors. We have a sergeant and a corporal. That's 40% supervision, 60% worker. I think that we can adjust some of that. I also believe that you got to look at your statistical data and see when your peak crime periods are. Historically, in police work, between 3 o'clock in the morning and 9 o'clock in the morning, there's not a lot of activity. The way we're set up right now, we have 5 people come on at 6 o'clock, 5 people leave at 6 o'clock with another 5 that come on. Instead, we've got from 6 to 9 every morning a lull in activity where we can have one person that stays home, let him sleep until 9 o'clock. Then we bring him in at 9 o'clock, he works a 12-hour shift instead of 6 to 6, 9 to 9. I've got about 10 seconds left. You restructure your manpower based on what your call load is and where you can see your needs are. If you look at the statistical data, you can figure all that out. We do need to add more people at sheriff's office, and we need to restructure the entire thing so we can put the people where we need them. You got me that time.
I had 12 when you had 10.
The answer is no, we do not have enough deputies at the sheriff's department. We currently do have 5 officers, 1 being the sergeant, 1 being the corporal, and 3 deputies. What people doesn't know that our sergeant and our corporals work about as hard as our deputies do. They're out there answering as many calls, if not more, on some occasions. Just depends on the call. Saline County is approximately 760 square miles. They have to run from one part of the county to the next, and that's a very tough situation to do. We're answering approximately 17,000, 18,000 calls a year. That's a lot of calls. That's a lot of calls. We work hard. We do the best that we can do. We have a budget that we have to work with that our court budgets us each year. Yes, we'd like to ask for more deputies. I want more deputies, but we're going to have to work for it. We're going to have to cut. We're going to have to make the sacrifices to get to where we need to be. But we can do it. We've been working. We're going to continue to work, and we're going to do the jobs that we need to do for Saline County. Thank you.
You can never have too many officers on the streets for public safety. Like I say, there is 5, and what we need to do is district them 5 out. Sometimes have 3 up in East End, which 3 is a low ball number for what that area needs. So trying to make some that's stable up there and mandated to stay in East End, and then utilize your other 5 down here in the central and west part of the county is going to be your best bet. And utilizing the admin officers that more or less stay in the office, walk in the halls. Those guys need to be out on the street just like the regular deputies. They're paid certified officers just like we are, so they need to be out beating the streets. If they don't have it in them, let's replace them and get somebody that does. Thank you.
When I started with the Saline County Sheriff's Office in 1997, we had 1 less deputy per street. We had a patrol sergeant, a corporal, and 2 deputies. 760, 770 square miles. The deputies are running their tail off, running from call to call. I do have a rock solid plan to increase the deputies almost by double. One of the things is, like everybody else has said, get the hall walkers out on the street. We have the cars. There's no reason why they should be inside the building, walking the halls, and answering phones, playing games on computers, whatever. Most of the time, even with 5 on shift, you have 1 on vacation or 1 sick, or 1 sick and 1 on vacation, both at the same time. Then you have
I'm in total agreement with the other gentleman. No, there are not enough deputies on patrol. You know, I worked 8 years as a patrol sergeant, and I answered just as many calls as the other deputies on the shift. Attempted many times to try and attempt to get grants in which to hire additional deputies in places like Pine Bluff, North Little Rock. They were able to get those individuals where we couldn't. You know, funding is a big issue in Saline County. You know, we're one of 2 counties that doesn't have a countywide sales tax, and I don't need any more taxes coming out of my check. So you have to be resourceful. Looking, again, like Mr. Haynes said, the peak hours of where you're having problems in the county, and then you can adjust the schedules to better accommodate the safety thing.
Saline County is growing. It's gone to about 106, 107,000 people. Why is the sheriff's department hasn't grown itself? It hasn't grown over 20 years. Why is that? But you need a sheriff that's going to get in there that's going to address that problem to the quorum court. Quorum court come out with about 50, 60 issues with the sheriff department. Quorum court's going to have to step up and say, hey, we're going to support you. Just like a marriage. When you first get married, you go to court, you become the sheriff, they're going to take care of you. So you better get what you can get in the beginning and hope you get what you get. So we'll go to the court, we'll address them, we'll bring it to the people. The people need this. For Saline County to grow, you got to put the right sheriff in there. I'm the right sheriff. I'm standing up here talking to you. I'll get the money to get more deputies. The biggest part is reserves. You got a vast source of reserves there. All you got to do is train them. They can do the same thing as a sheriff or deputy. Go to the East End, go to Perry. You can give them cars. You can give them reserves. They will do the job. They will take care of it. They will give you immediate service. Thank you.
All right, our next question, we'll begin with Simon. What sort of experience do you have with managing finances? And again, 1 minute.
I currently participate in managing the budget for our Criminal Investigations Division, which I'm the commander of. Also, prior to that, when I ran our patrol division, I had over 70 personnel. Also ran our special operations, which is including our SWAT budget, our budget for our water patrol, budget for our honor guard. So I've actually dealt with many different budgets. I have a lot of experience with dealing with that. One of the other things that I was responsible for is actually our fleet maintenance for our entire fleet, over 120 cars. I was able to reduce the expenses on that just by monitoring and tracking what we were doing. We found that people were getting tires replaced way too early. We found that when we were doing oil changes that they were changing air filters every time. You can cut costs this way. You have to be able to manage a budget. I've got a lot of experience in dealing with budgets and planning out budgets at the Sheriff's Office.
I have a great deal of experience with the budget at the Sheriff's Office. I work the budget every year and set it before the going court. I work diligently with every sheriff that we've had to keep a balanced budget. I too work with a fleet of about 72 vehicles in our fleet. We have purchased 32 new vehicles this year of $1,065,000. We have cut and cut and cut to make everything work. We work hard. I work hard to balance our budget. The uniforms, we get by with what we have. I have a closet there that we keep uniforms in. We rotate them out as much as possible. We do the things we need to do. And I'll continue to work that budget and make the necessary cuts that we have to do. I am very conservative. I'll do what we need to do. Thank you.
I'm limited in the finance budget. I could sit up here and say that I've managed this and that. I actually did manage a family-owned gas station whenever I was 22 years old. I managed it for 2 years, but I don't have a whole lot of budgeting experience, but I intend on surrounding myself with somebody that does, and that'll be something that's be very important for who I do hire for. They will focus on our budget, try to get it cut, and just try to maintain within our level of spending. Thank you.
My wife and I own a business currently in Bryant. We started that business with our own money, no bank help, no nothing, and we're running about $600,000 or $700,000 a year through it right now. We've grown from 2 trucks to 5 trucks currently. My staff that I have chosen when I'm elected to sheriff has over 15 years of managing a budget. So all corners of the sheriff's office will be covered there. Thank you.
My experience of budgeting is simply that for 5 years I budgeted the Saline County Sheriff's Office, turning back $1.6 million back to County General out of the detention facility. So, we always came in under budget. The only time that we ever had to ask for anything is because, as y'all well know, fuel costs, they're up and down, up and down. So we tried to set a minimal or maximum amount of what we thought fuel costs would be. And if it rose above that, then the quorum court had made adjustments for us in that regard. But as far as anything else, we didn't have to ask for anything.